So I thought I thought you are
नाही मी
unmarried.
कॉलेज पण करते.
Okay, okay. And of course, I assumed that day. Okay, okay, great, great, great. No problem. Try to use earphones so even you will be able to hear me clearly. Okay,
हां.
now have you understood the concept? First thing that we discussed over here is the positive statement, negative statement, and what are the interrogative statements. Then we also discussed about first person, second person, and third person. Any confusion with that? Anything that you did not understand?
हं.
Any confusion? असं काही जे तुला कळलं नाही?
नाही, नाही. समजलं.
Clear, right? Okay, write
हां.
it down quickly.
हं. डन.
Done?
डन.
Okay. Next, we have statements with be over here. The statements with be म्हणजे काय? की whenever we to make understand this that in English, whenever we make a sentence, okay, in English, whenever we make a sentence or a statement, we can say over here, the sentence structure that we use is subject, verb, and object. Okay, subject,
हं.
verb, and object. We'll
अच्छा.
use the subject first, which is our main thing that we are talking about in the sentence. Then we talk about the verb, then we use the verb. Verb is basically our action word, which tells us what action is happening. And then we have the object. Object gives us more information in the sentence. Okay.
हं.
For example, when I say I am Susmita, here
हं.
I is the subject, am is the verb that I'm using, and Susmita is the object part. Correct?
येस.
Same way I can say I am teaching. But if I say I am teaching English,
येस.
then it becomes more clear. Correct? Then
येस.
over here, English, the word English is the object. Clear?
ये येस.
Okay. Now, here we are looking at statements with be. Be काय आहे? Be हा आपला verb आहे. Now, be is a very funny verb. Okay. As I was saying, be is a very funny verb. Okay. Why do we
हं.
call it a funny verb? We don't use it as it is very often. We don't use it as it is very often. We change it to is am are in present tense and was were in past tense and we use it. आपण याला
हं.
is am are मध्ये चेंज करतो आणि यूज करतो जेव्हा प्रेझेंट टेन्स मध्ये असतो. पास्ट टेन्स मध्ये वॉज आणि वर मध्ये चेंज करतो आणि यूज करतो. वॉज आणि वर कसं यूज करणार आहे हे आपण 7th युनिट मध्ये बघणार आहोत. आता स्वतःला कन्फ्युज नाही करणार आहे. ठीक आहे.
हं. हं.
Only now we will look at is am are, how to use is am are. Now you might say, what is the meaning of this verb be over here? The meaning of verb be is simple. जसं आपण मराठीमध्ये आहे म्हणतो ना, मी सुस्मिता
येस.
आहे. बरोबर?
हो.
Same way your verb be over here is, which tells us something is there. It's a state of being, basically. Okay? ही काही गोष्ट असणे. That's what we are talking about with is am are. When we are using is am are as main verb. When we use it as helping verb, जे काल आपण प्रेझेंट कंटिन्युअस टेन्स मध्ये बघितलं, तेव्हा त्याचा रोल हेल्पिंग वर्बचा होतो. ठीक आहे. इथे आपण
हो.
इज एम आर ला मेन वर्ब यूज करून कसं सेंटेन्स बनवायचं हे शिकतो. कळलं?
येस.
Okay. So, of course, we already know the subject verb agreement over here. With I, we will use am. With you, we will use are. ही शी इट सोबत आपण यूज करणार इज, किंवा त्या पर्सनचं नाव जरी असेल तरी आपण यूज करणार इज. अँड विथ ऑल द सब्जेक्ट्स, अदर सब्जेक्ट्स वी विल यूज आर. क्लिअर?
Yes.
Okay. Next, over here, we have something called possessive adjectives. Now, before understanding possessive adjectives, we need to understand what are adjectives. Before understanding adjectives, we need to understand what are nouns and pronouns. Okay. Now, over here, nouns काय असतात हे आपण आधी बघू. Nouns are the names of people, places and things. जेव्हा आपण people ना किंवा places ना refer करतो किंवा things ना refer करतो, we take a name of a noun. For example, I will say water. I will say laptop. I will say class. Correct? All these are nouns, names. If I say Pune, if I say I'm in a mall, all these are names of places. If I
Yes.
say Vaishnavi, if I say Gauri, if I say a student, all these are names of people. Correct?
Yes.
असे करून आपण nouns use करतो. आता pronouns काय
Yes.
असतात? Pronouns are the words which replace the noun. फॉर एक्झाम्पल जे आपण आधी बघितले ही, शी, इट हे सगळे आपले प्रोनाऊन्स झाले. जे आपण नाउन्सला रिप्लेस करण्यासाठी यूज करतो. आय कॅन से गौरी was here in the class. I can say she was in the class. Correct? So the word
Yes.
she becomes the pronoun which I use to replace the word Gauri. Now, over here, we are looking at adjectives. Adjectives are the words which give us more information about nouns and pronouns. जर मी
Yes.
म्हटलं she is an intelligent girl, she is an intelligent girl.
Good.
So the word intelligent becomes adjective and it tells me what kind of a girl she is. Correct? So
Yes.
that's where we use the adjectives. Now, what do we mean by possessives? Possessives means possessive boyfriend wala possessive. Okay. Possessive means the whenever we are using the word to refer to something that belongs to someone, where we are talking who is the owner of that thing or who has the possession of that thing. ओके. फॉर एक्झाम्पल
Yes.
इफ आय से दिस इज माय लॅपटॉप, तर आपल्याला कळते की हा माझा लॅपटॉप आहे हे मी म्हणत आहे. बरोबर?
Mm.
सो दॅट्स
Huh.
व्हॉट युअर possessives mean over here. Now possessives are of three types: possessive nouns, possessive pronouns and possessive adjectives. Possessive nouns आणि pronouns आपण नंतर कधीतरी बघू. आता आपण adjectives बघू.
Huh.
Adjectives, they are basically the words my, your, his, her, its are there. आता एक रूल जो आपल्याला इथे लक्षात ठेवायचा आहे तो आहे की या पॉझिटिव्ह ऍडजेक्टिव्ह नंतर नेहमी आपल्याला एक नाउन पाहिजे. इफ आय से दिस इज माय, that is incorrect way of saying something. If I say this is my book or this is my pen, then it is a correct sentence. Okay.
Yes.
So हे
Mm.
सगळे वर्ड जे आहेत ना आपले जे वरती स्क्रीनवरती दिसतात माय युअर हिज हर, त्यांच्या नंतर आपल्याला एक नाउन पाहिजे. विदाउट नाउन आपण त्यांना यूज करू शकत नाही. कळलं?
Huh.
क्लिअर? ओके.
Huh.
राईट इट डाऊन क्विकली.
Done.
डन.
Yes.
व्हेरी गुड. आता याचे जे एक्सरसाइजेस आहेत ते होमवर्क मध्ये एकदा करून घेशील. ठीक आहे?
Huh.
Okay. Next thing that we have in this unit is how to make WH questions. आता WH questions, as I told you, they are expecting an explanatory answer. Whenever we want an explanatory answer, that is when we ask WH questions. Okay. Now
Hmm.
here, as we are looking with WH questions with D, which is our verb, which we just looked at, correct? How to use is MR. That's something that we looked at. So आपण is MR सोबत इथे sentences कसे बनवायचे? That's what we are learning. Now, of course, WH questions will always start with WH question words, which are the words like what, where, how, when, whose, who, whom. हे सगळे झाले आपले WH question words. Correct?
Yes.
Now, next that we have over here is how to make the structure of the question. Our questions will always start with WH question words, the way I told you just now. Then, as we are referring to questions with B, we will use is MR in sentences, and then the subject, and then the object. Where is your friend? Where are you and Louisa from? That is how we will make the questions. And of course, don't forget the question mark. Okay?
Yes.
Examples. Where is your friend? He is in class. Who is Sunny? She is my classmate. What is soul like? Now this is a very odd question structure. What is soul like? आता जेव्हा आपण विचारतो what is soul like, we are not asking what does this city or this what does the city like? Seoul is a city basically. It's the capital city of South Korea. We are not asking what does Seoul like. आपण विचारतोय ते what is Seoul like? म्हणजे इथे काय प्रश्न होता आपला की Seoul as a city कशी आहे? Okay. Now same way, if I ask you, say example, what is your husband like? मी ते हे नाही विचारते की तुझ्या हस्बंडला काय आवडतं. मी हे
Hmm.
विचारते what is he as a person? ओके म्हणजे
Oh.
त्यांचं नेचर कसं आहे त्यांचा बिहेवियर कसा आहे हे मी
Yes.
विचारते इफ I
Hmm.
ask you what is your husband like, I'm asking his nature, his behavior. So you will say, okay, he's a very caring person, he's a very loving person. That is something that you can say as an answer to it. Okay, मी हे नाही
Yes.
विचारते की त्याला काय आवडतं. Understood?
Oh. Hmm.
Next, where are you and Louisa from? We are from Brazil. How are your classes? They are pretty interesting. What are your classmates like? They are really nice. That is how you will say. Correct?
Yes.
Clear?
Oh.
Okay. Question structure, Leela?
Oh.
Okay. Very good. Now next we have yes and no question. Yes and no questions,
Yes.
they are expecting an answer as yes or no. That is when we make yes and no questions. Okay. Now yes and no questions always
Yes.
start with the helping verb. As the helping verbs that we are looking at over here is MR, we will start our questions with is MR over here. Then we have the subject, then we have the object and the question mark. For example, if I ask you, are you free? You will say yes, I am or no, I am not. तर इथे आन्सर आपण येस किंवा नो मध्ये देणार. इज डेव्हिड फ्रॉम मेक्सिको? येस ही इज or no he is not. Is Beth's class in the morning? Yes, it is, or no, it is not. That is how you will answer. Are you and Beth in the same class? Yes, we are, or no, we are not. Are your classes interesting? Yes, they are, or no, they are not. That is how you will answer. Now, another fact that you need to know over here is whenever we ask yes and no questions, and whenever we answer no over here, we give the right information after that. For example, if someone asks you, is your English class in the morning? You will say, no, it is not. It is in the evening.
Even.
Okay, that is how you will answer.
Yes.
सेम वे खूप वेळा असं पण होतं की जेव्हा आपला येस आन्सर असतो ना तेव्हा पण आपण त्याच्या पुढे जाऊन अजून थोडंसं आन्सर देतो. फॉर एक्झाम्पल, if someone asks us, are you from India? Then we will say, yes,
Yes.
I
I am
am.
from India.
आय एम फ्रॉम इंडिया. आय एम फ्रॉम पुणे असं करून आपण फुल स्टॉप लावून परत अजून जास्त इन्फॉर्मेशन पुढे देणार की आय एम फ्रॉम पुणे म्हणजे इंडियामध्ये पण आपण कुठे आहोत कुठून आहोत हे आपण प्रॉपर आन्सर देतो. ठीक
Hmm.
आहे, दॅट इज हाऊ वी आन्सर इट युजली. अंडरस्टूड. पण शॉर्ट आन्सर देऊन फुल स्टॉप लावून त्याच्या पुढे मग तो आन्सर येतो. रिमेंबर दॅट. येसला आपण आन्सर नाही देणार. ओके, म्हणजे येस हा आन्सर देणार पण त्याच्या पुढे आपण अजून ऍड ऑन करणार. कळलं?
Oh. Hmm.
क्लिअर? And we are done with Unit 1 revision. Unit 1 मध्ये एवढंच होतं. It's like very pretty easy. unit because here we are just starting off, right? की sentences
हा
कसे बनवायचे, sentence structures काय असतात, हेच आपण फर्स्ट युनिट मध्ये बघतो. सेकंड युनिट पण कम्पॅरेटिव्हली इझी आहे, पण आपण क्विकली थोडंसं गो थ्रू करू करू ठीक आहे.
हो
जस्ट गिव्ह मी 1 मिनिट. पहिलेचे युनिट्स असे आहेत ना की इझी आहेत ते, पण ते खूप इम्पॉर्टंट आहेत, त्यामुळे ते थरोली करणं खूप इम्पॉर्टंट होऊन जातं. इफ वी आर नॉट
हो
क्लिअर विथ फर्स्ट 4 युनिट्स ना, then what happens is we face issue with all the units that we are going to learn in future. Okay,
येस
because आपण काय करतो की ह्याच्यामध्ये बिल्ट ऑन करतो. Whatever we are
हो
learning in the first few units, we are working on that, we are using the same and we are expanding on it. ठीक आहे. तर त्यामुळे थोडंसं युनिट 1 to 4 आपल्यासाठी इम्पॉर्टंट होऊन जातात.
हा
Now, over here, we look at the unit 4. Sorry, unit 2. Unit 2 is named What Do You Do? What do you do? म्हणजे तू काय करते? ठीक आहे? What do you do? Now, the first thing that we look at over here is how to talk about part-time jobs which people take up around the world. Then we looked at some vocabulary, and then we looked at some uh, sentence practices. Okay. Then over
येस
here we have a conversation. Quickly read the conversation.
येस डन
Done? Okay.
डन
If you observe over here, इथे त्यांनी कुठेही आय फॉर्म यूज केलेला नाही. बरोबर, जे आपण काल बघितलं. आता आपण इंडियन्स
हो
काय करतो, मोस्ट ऑफ टाइम्स whenever we make sentences, we try to use those sentences in ing form. But as I said yesterday, we use ing form in everything and anything. That's not how we make sentences. Okay. Sometimes that tense becomes incorrect over there. So that's why first thing that we look at over here is how to use simple present tense. Okay. And if you observe, all the sentences over here are in simple present tense, which is a non-ing form for now. Understand that. आपण आता sentence structure बघणार आहोत. So don't get confused as of now. Now, as I said, the first tense we that look at over here is the simple present tense. Now we know that tenses are important for us. Tenses help us to tell whether the action is happening right now, whether it has happened in the past, or it will happen in the future. Correct? We have
येस
three main tenses: present tense, past tense, and future tense. And we have four subtypes: simple tenses, continuous tenses, perfect tenses, and perfect continuous tenses.
कंटिन्यूअस टेन्स
Okay, here we look at simple present tense. Now, we don't look at all of the tenses together. We look at the tenses one by one. Why? So that we don't get confused. Because if we look at all the tenses together, we will get confused. Correct? The first thing
येस
that we look at over here is the simple present tense because most of us we make mistakes in simple present tense. Now,
टेन्स
you might ask, when do we use simple present tense? We use it to talk about a repeated action or a habitual action. जेव्हा आपण एखादी गोष्ट परत परत करतो or as a habit करतोय, that is when we will use simple present tense. Okay?
येस येस
Monkeys eat bananas. It's a habit. So we will use simple present tense. Then we can also use it to talk about a person's routine. It could be our routine, it could be someone else's routine. On Sunday mornings, I get up at 5. I take a cup of tea and then go for a walk. At 8, I take my breakfast and then I go to my meal. That is how I will say it. Then we use it to talk about permanent truths. What do we mean by permanent truths? Permanent truths are simply the facts which we cannot change. For example, the sun rises from the east. Can we change that? No, we cannot. Unfortunately, we cannot change that. Correct? So we will talk about it in simple present tense. Same way, we have other
Yes.
example. The sun gives us heat and light. We cannot change that, so we will use it in simple present tense. Another
Tense.
example, another use of it is whenever we are talking about scientific facts, जे आपण परत change नाही करू शकत. Water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. We cannot change that. We will use simple present tense. Okay, clear?
Yes.
Now, the sentence structure is very, very important for us over here. Whenever we use, जसं मी पहिलं म्हटलं, थर्ड पर्सन सिंग्युलर आपल्यासाठी खूप जास्त इम्पॉर्टंट आहे. Whenever we use third person singular in a sentence, and with third person singular, whenever we use a verb, with that verb, we will add s. In all the other sentences, we will use the verbs as it is. Okay?
Yes.
But
Yes.
whenever we have whenever we have third person singular as a subject, that is when we will use s with the verb. With all the other subjects, the verb remains as it is. Clear with that? The sentence structure is pretty simple. Here we
Hmm.
use subject, then root form of the verb, s or es if we have third person singular as a subject, and object. That's it. With negatives, we will use does not, do not, or does not. Again,
Yes.
the word does is used only with third person singular. And with all the other subjects, we will use do not.
Yes.
Okay. Now,
Yes.
as we are using the word does already over here, which is the s that we have to use with the verb, we are already using it with the word do. We will not add s with the verb again. The verb will remain as it is. So I will say, I don't go to school every day. He doesn't go to school every day. Clear? Next,
Yes.
whenever we make questions, same rule. Whenever we
Questions.
have third person singular, we will use does. With all the other subjects, we will use do. Do you go to school every day? And does he go to school every day? Okay, that is how we
Yes.
will use it. Then, whenever we make WH questions, of course, the WH questions will start with WH question words, and then we will use do and does, correct, and the subject and the root form of the verb. Again, because we are using does, we will not add s to the verb again. Clear?
Yes.
Okay. As we are talking about repeated action over here, we will use the words like generally, usually, frequently with this. Okay.
Yes.
Again, how to use these words हे आपण 6th unit मध्ये बघणार आहोत. So don't get confused as of now. Clear?
Okay. Hmm.
Okay. Write down the rules quickly. आपल्या वर्ड्स मध्ये लिही. ऑफकोर्स मी नोट्स पण शेअर करेनच. नोट्स आपल्या ड्राईव्ह
Okay.
वरती आहेत.
चालेल.
Do these exercises. One, number two, four, फाइव एंड सिक्स. डू इट क्विकली. आपने किया हुआ है ना. 2 मिनट दो, मैं इतना खत्म करती हूँ क्लास. कृष्णा आ रहा है बोला ना. यूनिट 2 का है. 1 का ही है.
Done.
राइट डाउन द सेंटेंस स्ट्रक्चर्स क्विकली. बाकी
Okay.
सगळं तुला नोट्स मध्ये मिळून जाते. ठीक आहे.
चालेल. Hmm. Done.
Done? Okay.
Hmm.
Write down these structures for interrogative.
Done.
Okay?
Hmm.
Okay. We will stop over here. युनिट 2 हाफ झाला आपला. लक्षात ठेव. युनिट 2 चा हाफ पार्ट आपल्याला अजून कव्हर करायचा आहे. ठीक आहे? Where we
Hmm.
discuss prepositions of time. Unit 2 half बाकी आहे and then we will go ahead and discuss Unit 3 and Unit 4. मी next week mostly Tuesday ला मी तुझं ते रिव्हिजन घेऊन घेईन. ठीक आहे? थोडंसं लवकर जॉईन करू.
चालेल.
Yep. Okay, we'll
Hmm.
stop over here for today. We will
Hmm.
continue in the next class.
चालेल.
Your homework is try making 5 to 10 sentences in simple present tense with each sentence structure. Okay? 5,
हो.
5 to 10 in positive, 5 to 10 in negative, 5 to 10 in interrogative.
Hmm.
Understood?
Yes.
चलो. So do that and we will meet in the next class. Keep revising. ठीक है? Meanwhile मैं recordings पण share करूँगी तुझ्यासोबत.
चालेल.
चलो.
Thank you.
No problem. Bye bye. Happy weekend.
Bye.